Two startups signed safes in the same city last year. One founder woke up a year later and realized their ownership had been halved after several stacked instruments converted. The other founder kept control and closed a clean Series A. How did those two stories end so differently?
Welcome to Capital Conversations.
I'm Glenn Gould. Today, we're doing something practical, a decision matrix for founders choosing between safes, convertible notes, priced rounds, or hybrids, the moves that shape ownership, speed to close, and future fundraising. Quick orientation. When I say speed, I mean closing in days or a couple of weeks. When I say clarity, I mean a valuation and ownership snapshot you can show future investors. Those priorities often pull in opposite directions. Today, you'll get plain rules to decide which way to lean.
Let's start simple. Convertible notes are loans that convert into equity later. They accrue interest and usually have a maturity date, a due date that's often erased when the next priced round happens.
Safes, simple agreements for future equity, are promises to give equity on a trigger, not loans. No interest, typically no maturity. They're designed to be fast and cheap to execute.
Priced rounds mean you sell shares at a negotiated valuation today. That gives you immediate ownership percentages and governance terms, at the cost of negotiation time and higher legal fees.
Curious, hybrids exist too. Think of a note with a capped conversion plus an extension-friendly maturity. They're attempts to balance speed and valuation protection, but they add complexity you must model.
Now, the practical mechanics. Notes and safes convert at a priced equity round or a liquidity event. Notes grow by interest before conversion. Safes don't. Priced rounds set the valuation up front. No guesswork later.
Key terms you'll see on every sheet: cap, discount, interest, maturity, pro rata rights, and liquidation preference. Let's make each one line simple.
Valuation cap, the effective ceiling used to convert a safe or note. It protects early investors if the company's value explodes before conversion.
Discount, a percentage off the price at the next round, commonly 10 to 25%. It rewards being early without locking a cap.
Interest applies to notes, slightly increases the principal that converts. Maturity, the deadline on notes, which can force a decision or extension. Pro rata lets investors maintain ownership in future rounds. Liquidation preference, who gets paid first in a sale. It matters a lot in modest exits. Concrete example, investor puts $200,000 into a safe with a $4 million cap. Later, you close a Series A at an $8 million pre-money. That safe converts as if the valuation were $4 million, so the investor gets twice the shares they would at $8 million. That's how caps protect early backers. I watched a founder model this once, and surprise, when a second safe stacked on top, dilution climbed in a way they hadn't forecast. That's why you model every instrument stacking on conversion.
So when do you pick which? If your pre-revenue and speed matters, a safe or a simple note usually wins. If you have meaningful revenue or a strategic lead demanding valuation clarity, do a priced round.
If you're in between revenue but uncertain growth, consider a small priced round or a capped note. That gives you some signal for future investors while keeping legal complexity manageable.
Negotiation tactics that preserve control. Start by knowing your dilution threshold and runway target. Push back on aggressive liquidation preferences, lengthy investor vetoes, and cascading protective provisions. 2 short scripts you can use. If someone asks for a high liquidation preference, say, "We understand the concern. At this stage, a 1x non-participating preference balances protection with founder incentives."
If they push for an ultra-low cap or harsh terms, try, "We want alignment. Let's set a cap that reflects today's risk but preserves future upside. Can we meet in the middle with pro rata or milestone tranches?" Those lines keep the tone collaborative.
Investor objection you'll hear, "We need more downside protection." Your quick retort, "I get that. A 1x non-participating preference provides downside cover without erasing founder incentives. Anything above that materially changes long-term alignment." Say it calmly. It lands.
Red flags. Complex math you can't explain in one sentence. Notes with multiple maturity extensions. Cumulative voting for investors, or layered liquidation preferences. Also be cautious if an investor insists on heavily amended custom docs. Sometimes that signals a problematic relationship ahead.
2 short case studies. First, pre-revenue SaaS with a prototype and pilots, needing 6 to 9 months runway. The winner here is often a safe with a reasonable cap or a short note, low legal cost, fast close, and you get to the next milestone without over-diluting.
Second, a marketplace at 1 million ARR with predictable metrics and a lead investor who wants clarity. A small priced round usually makes sense. You get a valuation anchor, governance clarity, and a better signal for Series A investors.
Curious? What should you bring to every investor meeting? 1 page, fully diluted cap table, target raise and use of funds, burn and runway in months, key milestones, and a 1-page term comparison, safe with cap X, note with cap Y in term Z, priced round at target valuation. That matrix saves time and shows you know the trade-offs.
Final, important advice. Templates are useful, but don't substitute them for counsel. If conversion math or stacked instruments look unfamiliar, get an experienced startup attorney or CFO to model scenarios. You don't want surprises at conversion.
A quick recap. Safes and notes buy speed and lower legal cost, but push valuation decisions downstream. Priced rounds cost time and money, but they give clarity and a valuation signal. Match the instrument to your stage, runway needs, and investor type. Model every stacking scenario and keep simple negotiation scripts ready.
3 immediate next steps. Prepare that 1-page term comparison. Model 12 and 18-month dilution scenarios under each instrument. And write your 2 negotiation lines for your top red flags. Do those and you'll shift from reactive to deliberate in fundraising.
If you found this useful, subscribe to Capital Conversations so you don't miss future episodes breaking down term sheets, investor psychology, and real founder stories. Find the 1-page term comparison template in the episode notes and share this with a founder who's about to sign their first document.
Thank you for joining us on Capital Conversations. I hope today's discussion provided valuable insights for your funding journey. Remember, securing the right capital is a crucial step in building a successful business. Keep building. Let's talk capital. Until our next conversation.